أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. The need of a capable master, which is said peer, is essential in this way of spirituality. The peer, the master, no doubt, having in view or determined goal, the proper means to achieve it or next lookout must be to find out the right type of person as our guide, who must successfully take us along the path of realization in all cases, including those pertaining to worldly attainments. We stand in need of capable guide. It may, however, be possible acquiring some knowledge. We may proceed further by our self-effort, but even the teacher of the past contained in their letters, in their writings, in spirituality, the case is otherwise. The need of a master or peer goes greater and greater as we go on advancing and securing higher stages. The letters and scriptures are of no avail to us in this respect. They may help us to acquire some superficial knowledge of things to enable us to deliver eloquent discourses on spiritual topics and to win arguments. But practical approach in spirituality through them alone is impossible. And spiritual practices and the methods based on knowledge acquired through the books are mostly misleading and even harmful to our spiritual advancement. It is only the helping support of a capable guide that can take us on up to the destination. It is said of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, a celebrated Persian poet and the author of 18 books on spirituality, that once he approached a great saint to receive spiritual training from him. The saint asked him to throw all the books into the river if he wanted to have practical training from him, as this meant to him the loss of his life effort, long labor. He did not agree to it. Several times he approached the saint with the same request but received the same reply. Finding no other alternative, he at last submitted his demand, threw away all his writings into the water and became his disciple. Actual realization comes only after training in the real practice. And for that, knowledge or illusion proves to be of little assistance. The help of a peer or master is therefore essential, indispensable to those engaged in spiritual pursuit. There have been cases, however, when saints have attained perfection by mere self-efforts, surrendering themselves direct to God. But such examples are rare. It is really a very difficult course and can be followed only by persons especially gifted with uncommon genius. Peer is the connecting link between God and man. It is through his medium that we can reach the God. He is the only power that can extricate us from the intricacies of the path. During our spiritual march, we have to pass through various points known as figurative called rings, Makhamat-e-Suluk, Alam-e-Nasut, Jabarut, Malakut, Lahut. They are the centers of concentrated energy of power of divine force inherited by the man. They are located in the human frame also. The intervening space between 2 points is characterized as a network interwoven by numerous intricate fibers. As we proceed along we have passed through these entanglements, intervening layers, where to stay there for a considerable time to complete the cleaning, taskiya, does not mean only undergoing that effect of our past actions. It is really means that we are passing through the entanglements, the process unfolding the intricacies of the point which we have already arrived at. Our stay at these points for the purpose of cleaning is often very long, and in most cases it is almost impossible to get out of it by mere self-effort. It may, however, be possible at a preliminary stages, but subsequently it becomes quite impracticable. It has been observed that most of the saints of the past who have tried by self-effort remained lingering for whole life on the very first or the second stage and could not cross it. The fact is that at somewhat advanced stages we have to face what may be expressed as the slippery condition of the place. There we may sometimes go up little, but sooner we come down again and again. That higher ascent become arduous and well nigh impracticable. Under the circumstances, it is only a forceful push by the worthy master that can bring us out of the whirlpool. If the master is not lacking in power and capacity, he will by his own force push the disciple up out of the entanglement and place him on the next higher stage. It is therefore essential that the guide we select must be one of the highest caliber and worthy of the task of tearing off the intricacies at a glance. With the aid of the extraordinary power at his command, it can only be one who has himself attained the perfection and complete negation of the self. Hence we must connect ourselves with such a great power by feelings of love and attraction. It does not matter much what conception of him we intervene in our mind. We may call him our friend, master, servant, peer, or whatever we might be pleased to choose. But he remains, after all, our guide or peer, as he is commonly called. Unfortunately, today the selection of a proper peer is neglected, although every religious-minded person believes that it is incumbent upon him to have a master in order to satisfy his craving for spiritual benefit. Generally, people select anyone for the purpose without any regard to his capabilities of work. They are induced to do so, mostly by persuasion or by miracles displayed by those so-called masters. To attract the ignorant masses, the disciple hunters, they do not want a release of most of them. Masterdom is a very profitable job nowadays, which can secure enormous income which they can not income anywhere. Personal service from their disciple, they take it. The disciples in masses, they are ready to do all the things for them. Display of something charming or attractive is enough for them to attract hundreds of these silly sheep to their fold of masterdom. A simple threat to pronounce curse upon one who happens to displease them may bring thousands into their object's submission. Not only this, but in order to ensure monopoly of their profession, they declare that none but one belonging to them, privileged class, has the right of being a master, whether he may be a Biyabanashi Darvish, Sahranashi, Fakir or householder. They claim to be world teacher of religion by birth, irrespective of their capability and worth. You will find these days in multitude posing as Sufi, Peer and professing to be a Guru, Pir Tariqat, world teachers, is it not a pity to find such professional impostures who are a shame to nation and the religion, roaming about with impurity to cheat and defraud the ignorant people in order to serve their own selfish ends? It is high time for the masses to open their eyes and see what our havoc has been fraud by them. Masterdom as a monopoly of a privileged class is only an absurdity introduced by the professional masters to safeguard their personal interest. The popularly believed principle that a disciple can never make a sacred connection with his master under any circumstances is also a cunning device adopted by those false masters to make their positions safe and secure, and is nothing but a fraud. The practice of initiating a disciple through really based on sound principle has been much abused by most of them modern professionals who do not understand its real significance. Their only functions as a master is to break mystical words to the disciple and tell him to follow the certain ceremonial practices by way of worship. Their duty to the disciple ends with it, and nothing remains for them to do betterment of disciple except to give their ziyarat every year and annual tribute to them. Really, a disciple should formally be initiated only when true faith exists in him and divine take directly root to his heart. This signifies the disciple link is connected with the supreme power. In that case, the spiritual force begins to flow in the heart of the disciple by his observing capacity. It depends upon the capability of the master to establish a sound connection. High caliber is needed for that. A sound connection, once established, continues as long as the disciple does not secure liberation, which in such cases is not a far off matter to be attained after numerous life. In fact, if a disciple is initiated in the right sense, as mentioned above, by a master of high caliber, the question of breaking off from him can never arise. But for the professional master who perform a mass initiate to serve their purpose, it's a matter of anxiety. Therefore, in order to keep a disciple permanently in their grip, they proclaim as a divine dictator. He shall be quoting all the miseries of the hell if he ever thought of breaking off from them at any time. The ignorant masses accept it as the gospel truth, trembling at the very idea of doing anything which might displease their master. So they always try to put up with all their atrocities in passive submission. We are sure that there is not the slightest suggestions to this foundation and the system. It is only an ingenuity on the part of this teacher of religion. I hold it to be the birthright of every man to break off from his master at any time. If he finds that he had made a wrong selection or had misjudged to the master capacity or worth, he is also free to seek another master. If at any stage he finds that his master has not the capacity to take him beyond what he has already acquired. On the other hand, a conscientious master himself, under the circumstances, direct his disciple to seek it, more advanced and better qualified, so that the disciple progress may not suffer in any way. This is the sacred duty of a true and selfless master. If, however, permission to break off sought by the disciple is denied by the master on account of his selfish motives, the disciple is at liberty to break off from him at once and seek another. No moral or religious law ever forbids him from doing so. A little advanced among the class of masters are considered to be those who teach and preach on the basis of their knowledge of the system and other holy books. They have established orders and khanqahs where they enjoy a kingly position among their followers. They go out and address large audiences, telling them what to do and what not to do, and explaining to them problems concerning the kainat, wajud or khuda. People flock to them in thousands to hear their sermons, admiring their high ideas and extensive knowledge, and regard them as great sentient being, Pir, Fakir, Sufi or saints. They ask them numerous intricate questions, and if they are able to answer them out of their stock of their knowledge of system, their greatness as Buzurg Pir Tariqat is established in their mind, and they are induced to accept them as masters, but really they have thus put to test their learning and not the real worth. It must well be borne in mind. It is not learning or knowledge that makes a man perfect, but it is only realization in the right sense that makes a true Pir or sentient being. It is just possible that the man who has just impressed from the outward form, learning or eloquence may be at the lowest level. As regards practical attainments, knowledge, therefore, is no criteria of a true practitioner Sufi Pir. Similarly, the real test of a Pir or master is not his miracle or his extraordinary ways or manners, but only his practical ideas in the way. The practical meaning in the way of a great Sufi or a Pir individuality does not seem appealing to me. I would define a Pir as the most significant being or the rather neglected figure beyond all feelings of greatness or egoism, dwelling permanently in the state of self-negation. There are some who hold the view that knowledge, being the preliminary stage of realization, is indispensable. We do not agree in the ground that knowledge is only achievement of brain, whereas realization is the awakening of soul, transformation of soul. Hence, beyond his scope, in books and scriptures, spiritual science, we read more. The mind has various spiritual stages and get acquainted them, but as regards practical attainment, we are far away from them. We can talk to people about those conditions, advance arguments further against them, and establish their superiority in learning inwardly, are quite ignorant of them. We attend lectures and hear sermons on the holy books. We recite portions from holy books regularly. Every day we read commentaries on it written by great men on learning, but what practical effect are produced upon us? Has any one of us has been able to be practically achieve the conditions? Repeat the verse. They only repeat the verse. Dunya Sarakhana hai. Dunya ka mal, the world is sarai fani, only for the human desires, utilized only for the human desires. Or dil mein rage jaan se khareeb khuda raha karta hai. So on. But inwardly they are quite unconscious what words they are speaking about it. And develop the conditions discussed therein just as we have it today is really a commentary on what the holy personalities spoke to us to their disciples. And the various conditions of the mind discussed in the spiritual sayings of holy personalities, different stages man comes during his march of path of his spiritual development. They develop automatically from within. Formal means adopted to acquire a particular state of mind. At a premature state, increase internal grossness, which is detrimental to progress. A real teacher is not one who can explain us to the soundness of religious dogmas or who can prescribe to us do's and don'ts. Almost every one of us knows enough of it. Alhamdulillah. What we stand in need of from a master is the true impulse to effect the awakening of soul and is directly supporting thing in the path of approach. Such a man we have to seek for. If he is at success, it is therefore evident while judging a man for our spiritual guide, we must take him into account, not his, we should not see the miracles. We should see that whether he is approached over there or not. A man who is free from the eternal bondages and can free you also from the eternal bondages. If he is not free from the eternal bondages, then how can he can make you free from the eternal bondages? The Madhananiyat, it is not possible him to free you from these things, from those bondages. Suppose you are born to one pole and your master to another one. How is it possible to your master to free you from the bondage of the pole? Only a man who is himself free can release you from the bondage. People have, in most cases, gone astray for this very reason, as they have submitted themselves to the guidance of such unworthy teachers whose primary motive is perhaps mere self-aggrandizement. कुरान कहता है हर एक का हश्र उसी के अपने पेशवा के साथ होगा. You should be behind of your master on the day of judgment. They are generally found to be eager to maintain their positions and prestige by false impositions. To them, it is probably the greatest shock to their pride and position to acknowledge the superiority and even more advanced or accomplished. This is nothing but ananiyat in the crudest form, egoism. If you submit yourself to such a master, you are sure to inherit the same feeling of pride, which is the worst type of grossness and is sure to hamper your spiritual advancement. Liberation is never possible so long this will exist. Spirituality, in fact, superfine stage, that every other teaching will seem to be heavier or grosser. In comparison to it, the delicate feeling caused on the senses by the sweet smell of a rose is far heavier. I may express it as a state of tranquility and moderation is complete harmony with nature, in which state of mind all senses of mind and faculties are so to stay in a sleeping or a dormant state. Their working becomes automatically, not breaking. Perfect high stage can be attained, although the real thing is still onward, but even conscious fails, for the consciousness of freedom causes some weight upon the mind, though it is very insignificant when we are really quite unconscious of the very presence of peace. We are in true sense free for the impression of the feeling. The condition at this stage is peculiar. It is really neither surur, blissfulness, nor otherwise. Words fails to express the real condition of this state, such as the state to be achieved in final level. We can be free only by a capable master, push, and has the power and capacity to transmit by his will force in the spiritual state of the heart of the salik, murid, trainee, practitioner, and to remove complexities, obstructions from their form. None below of this level is fit to impart spiritual training or others. Alhamdulillah. Wassalam.